Well, blessed good morning and welcome to our devotions for Friday. It's the end of the week and we are delighted that the time has flown and one more week has passed. Yes, it is always a time to breathe at the end of a week as we give God thanks for the ability to have gone through a week and to have made our contribution. Today I am grateful to Almighty God for all that we were able to share during the course of this week as we reflected on the theme, to know myself as love. And I really hope and pray that you would have been able to reflect on that theme and in some way to have been led to some deeper understanding of who you are and why you're here. As I share these devotions from day to day, from week to week, from month to month, it is my sincere hope and pray that they are of some benefit to us all, that we are in some way using them as seedlings, as it were, to go deeper, to go into a more expansive place where we can, for our own selves, discern, discover what God is seeking to do with us. These times for me are intended to be times of invitation, really. My statements are not the end all and be all. They're not the final word. What they are really for me is simply just little seeds along the road, little crumbs, as it were, to perhaps lead us to something else, to something deeper. Friends, I want to thank you for being with me these days, and I really trust and hope that they have been of some benefit to you. It's important. There's a great work to be done, and we can tend to be a bit on the lazy side when it comes to our spiritual work. Sometimes we get going for a little while and then we lose steam because there's no external incentive, really and truly. And that's as it should be, because this is your work. You should not need anybody else to be driving you. You have to find that drive from within. And you have to allow that drive to sustain you and to keep you at it. Because it's your work. It's not my work. It's not another person's work. It is your work. Over the years, we've tended not to realize this. But if we're going to move forward, we need to realize it now. So, as is our custom, let us go within and let us take this time to embrace and find that space within us where we know ourselves as divine. We are here. We are together in this place. We are connected. We sense each other's presence. We are one. But in becoming one, we must first be ourself, our true self, our self that God knows. And so we bring our attention into our heart space. And we trust. We trust that God will meet us there. We trust that we're never alone. We trust. As we breathe in and out, we remind ourselves that we are alive, we are spirit, we are breath. We remind ourselves that we draw from the same reservoir. We drink, as it were, from the same cup. So we come to that space that reminds us of our original face. That space that helps us to know where we are and to create a reference point, so that in the midst of turmoil, in the midst of the challenges of life, we know this space. We know how to find it. We know how to use it. It is what keeps us grounded. It is what keeps us steady. This is who we are. Just sense that. Hold it. Remember it. Use it. It is the place where we meet the divine, where we receive all that we need, where we can easily draw down on the gift that is ours, where we can turn those dark places, those shadows, into gifts, into true gifts, gifts that make us who we are. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many mighty works in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Go away from me, you who behave lawlessly. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall. Jesus' words this morning to us bring this theme of ours to an end. To know myself as love. This idea of love, this notion of love, is an important aspect of the ministry of Jesus. What Jesus gives to us in his words is that new commandment that you love one another as I have loved you. There is this sense that we are called upon to love. And Jesus perceives that when we hear the words that he has offered us and we fail to ground ourselves in those words, that we are like a foolish person who builds their house on sand. In the opening statement of the passage, he speaks of those who might think that because they have certain abilities and they've used those abilities supposedly in his name, that all is well. But he is saying, no, all isn't well. All is not well. It is not enough simply to say these things. It's not enough. We have to go beyond that. We have to go into a place where we ground ourselves in the truth, and the truth is the love that we are and the love that we demonstrate in the world. So yes, Jesus invites us to be persons who are wise, who build everything pertaining to this faith of ours on something solid. And the most solid thing for you and for me is to know myself, to know yourself as divine. And in knowing yourself as divine, you know yourself as love. We do not need to qualify that love because there's only one love. There's only one love. And that is the love that God is. We may do other things and call it love, but it is not. To know love is to know God. To be love is to be as God is. And that is what we are seeking to remember in this journey. Who we are. This week has been a week where we have focused on that idea of ourselves as love. And I trust that as you have reflected, that you have allowed your reflections to go beyond the moments that we are in, these devotions. I trust that you have allowed these reflections to permeate your day and to challenge you about what you've heard, to challenge you to allow it to go beyond mere words, and to see where on a daily basis am I showing up as love. Where am I living out my fullest potential? Where, as I look back at the week past, can I see myself as one who was built on solid ground? The beauty of the image that Jesus uses is that it speaks so well to our everyday lives. And here's how I see it. When I ground myself in knowing who I am, when I ground myself in knowing myself as love, the winds of challenge, the winds of personalities, the winds and the rains of difficult situations will and must present themselves in my day. But at the end of the day, I'm still standing. When I don't know who I am and I don't practice grounding myself in that sense of love, and I have to deal with co-workers, with family, spouses, with the average person that I meet, when I'm bombarded by persons' dislike of this and dislike of that, when I'm challenged by persons because we don't seem to be able to see eye to eye, at the end of the day, I'm flat on my back. I'm exhausted. I just want it to be finished. Because I built my entire existence on that which is not solid. I do not know myself, my true self. And because I don't know my true self, I am not able to withstand what comes to me. Jesus speaks of the wise and the foolish. And he's able to do that not from a place of judgment, but to say, if you do what I say, if you practice these things, it is to be wise. If you don't practice these things, if you don't engage in these things, it is clearly a foolish action. So the invitation really is to be wise. To be wise. And to do the things that make sense in our journey. To do the things that seem to, in some way or another, create a future for us that helps us to realize the importance of all that we're doing, being in this world. So as I bring this week to an end with our devotions, as I thank you for your presence, I invite you to hear these final words of this week's message. To be wise or to be foolish. To build on the knowing who we are as love, or to build on the frivolities of our world. To withstand the challenges that are around us, even if at times we're a bit tired, but as long as we can stand at the end of the day, we know that we can be renewed. But when we are flat on our backs, at the end of the day, we know we're in trouble. Stand. Stand firm. Know yourself. Know your true self.